All right, welcome to this training section and congratulations. You've gone ahead and submitted your phone number for approval, your registration, and fingers crossed it does go through. And so while you are waiting to hear back from the TCR for your registration, we want to go ahead and walk you through what's going to happen and what it's going to look like. Now, a couple quick important notes to this. We said this before. I want to go ahead and say this one more time, is that registering a phone number only applies to text messaging, okay? Once you have obtained your phone number from the very get-go, you can actually go ahead and start making phone calls immediately, but not text messages, okay? So at this point, if you want to go ahead and make outbound or inbound and receive phone calls and all that kind of stuff through ClientKit, you can actually do that even now during the approval process. But for SMS text messaging, you will need to wait for that approval before you can start sending out text messages. Otherwise, they will get blocked and they will not go through. Okay, so let me break down what it's going to look like for your approval. The very first part of this is what is known as brand approval. And so in a very short period of time, you are going to see that box that is inside of your ClientKit account. Now, it may look like this. It may have changed because software companies change their UI all the time. But what you're going to see is that you're going to see that brand approval, if you followed our instructions properly, everything looks good, you're going to see that approval come in relatively quickly, because that means that the TCR committee has gone ahead and confirmed your company information if you inputted that properly, and they've gone ahead and reviewed and approved that. Okay, so you might even see that the very day, the first day that you complete and fulfill that application. Okay, now if you end up getting that rejection is going to look like this. Okay, it's going to say unverified, and it's going to say that the brand recognition has been rejected. Okay, so that means that they were not able to verify your brand, they were not able to verify your company, and so you will need to make sure that you resubmit that again. Make sure you go ahead and follow the instructions exactly as we have outlined, so that way you can go ahead and get that brand registration approved. Okay, next up after that is the campaign approval. That is the second box underneath brand. This is what it may look like depending on how it looks like on your screen, is you're going to have campaign on there. This is what it looks like once it is actually approved. Now, what if it actually gets rejected? Now, it may get rejected. It's possible, right? Because this is a registration process. And what's going to happen is that sometimes it will tell you what the rejection reason is, but sometimes it's also some generic general reason that you don't exactly know why it got rejected, right? So if it gets rejected, it may end up looking something like this with a rejection reason on there. So sometimes the rejection reason is good. It kind of tells you what you got to resubmit. Sometimes it doesn't, and you have to go in and make sure that you're like, cool, I got to review my messages. I got to see how I can improve that. And obviously this is the reason why we've built this as a community-based program, because let's say, for example, the community goes in and says, hey, I got approved. Awesome. We know that the training is going good, right? And we've said this many times before, that because this is a community, all we are doing as the training creation providers, right? All we are doing is, we're not some guru on the mountain that has all of the answers. We are just saying, hey, all of the latest learnings are happening inside of the community. We're all supporting each other to get up the mountain. And all we do is say, cool, every once in a while, let's say every couple months, we're like, cool, you know what? Since all the learning is happening in the community, let's compile all of that learning so that way it's easy for somebody new coming in to be able to go through the trainings. But if you're waiting for the trainings to be created or for the trainings to be updated, you've already missed the boat. All of the latest training is happening inside of the community. So you want to make sure that, hey, if your A2P gets approved, drop it inside of the community so that way you're helping other people to know, like, hey, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. If it gets rejected, make sure you go ahead and let the community know as well. So that way, like, cool, we know that, rejections are happening right now. We can start to dig into, like, hey, figure out those people who got approved versus those people who didn't get approved. We can all learn as a community. So this is very, very important. Right now, we are hearing that under current conditions, because A2P is relatively new right now, it can take sometimes up to 4 to 6 weeks. And so that is what it potentially may look like. But then once it all actually goes through, you are going to see the verified A2P messaging on there. You are going to see the brand approved on there, as well as the campaign approved on there as well. And so you do want to make sure that you are checking back continuously, regularly here to your A2P inside of your ClientKit to make sure to see, hey, do you get approved or do you not get approved? And so we would also suggest that during this time that you are waiting for approval, there's another thing that you can turn on, which is called the Shake and Stir Trust calling, that you can go ahead and turn on while you are waiting for approval. So let me go ahead and talk to you about that very quickly. So what you do is that inside of your ClientKit account, there is going to be a section that says Shake and Stir, or it might be called Trust Calling. So what this does is it actually increases the rate of your calls. So that way, when you're calling, let's say you're calling clients, prospects, whatever, it is going to show up as a verified caller. Now, this is something that ClientKit has gone ahead and made free for those people who are signed up in the community, in this program's ClientKit accounts. Okay, so you are going to be able to go ahead and turn that on, which is another awesome feature that ClientKit has provided this community. So this is what it's going to look like. You click on it right there, and then you just go ahead and click on start registration. It's very, very easy for you to be able to go through. And then once you've gone ahead and done that, this is what it's going to look like, verified. So that way you do have that way to get increased answer rates because you are a verified caller. So make sure you go ahead and turn that feature on while you are waiting for approval. So that is something that you are going to be able to do while you are waiting for that approval. Okay, so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, what's next is that we want to make sure, hey, while you are waiting for approval, do not stop. This is very, 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 look how many varies there are. Do not stop. Very important. Okay. You can absolutely still continue through the training. You can continue to get the things in your business set up. You don't want to be sitting around like a wannabe entrepreneur who's wearing the failure uniform and says, oh, you know what? I got to sit down for the next 4 to 6 weeks and I can't do anything and can't work on my business. You can literally go out there and start working on your automations, getting your SMS text messaging automation set up. So that way, once it does go through, guess what? You can immediately turn those automations on. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, email automation that you can go ahead and get set up. There's a whole bunch of other stuff inside of your specific business that you can go ahead and get it set up, not only in the rest of these training sections, but other trainings that you're going to be able to go ahead and go through as well. So please, please, please do not sit around. The professional entrepreneurs don't just sit around. They keep the momentum going. And so that's what I want to go ahead and remind you of. Hey, success doesn't just find you. You have to go out and get it. So your dedication is paying off. Keep up the forward momentum. Stay strong. You're rocking and rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the training section on waiting for the phone number approval, exactly what that's going to look like, what you're going to go ahead and turn on, which is the trust-based calling in the meantime. But again, don't stop yet. There's more training sections for you to go through and more trainings for you to go through because you're doing an amazing job at getting your business set up, because this is the road and the path to getting success in business. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we will catch you in the next training section.